So Savitri was challenged by the cosmic dread, by the blank eternal. Well, actually, this challenge itself is a positive step. In the sense that had she not felt that dread, she would not have proceeded further. She would not have proceeded to do what she must do in case she wants to meet death and conquer death. So, in that sense, this dread is something which is playing a positive role in the yoga of Savitri. It is bringing out something which was lying there unattended in Savitri. It had to come out. And the contribution of this cosmic dread is to bring out that aspect for Savitri to take care of, to attend to it, you see. So, even the negative is something which is really playing a very dynamic, positive role in the yoga of Savitri. Had it not happened, had the dread not challenged Savitri, should I remain where she was? You see, that is important, static. So, although it looks very frightening, very disappointing in the first instance, but it is that which really brings out the dark personality which is lying there within us. In fact, that is what exactly death does. Death is the promoter of immortality in this creation. It is death who is really promoting immortality. This is playing a positive role from that angle. In fact, in one of the letters, Sri Aurobindo speaks of death as the creator and destroyer of existence. Creator and destroyer of existence. He uses the word creator. It is that which is coming out in play when you have to deal with the opposite of the supreme reality. So actually, in a way of speaking, this dread had no other business. Why should dread come out and challenge Savitri? Who are you challenging like that? No. Why? But it is necessary from that angle. And therefore, a shadow, the negating absolute. Now, this dread itself is a shadow of the negating absolute, negating the inconscient absolute. Is shadow. It is a projection. It is somebody who is thrown out by the negating absolute to challenge Savitri. Savitri's yoga has advanced to such a point now that it must come and play its role, its part, and that is what it is doing. The intolerant darkness travels surging past and ebbed in her the formidable voice. So, that dread told Savitri what to do and all that, challenged, and it's intolerant, it's not going to accept anything at all. So it traveled back, it's that formidable voice. It left behind her inner world laid waste. So all those gains of Savitri, the spiritual, psychic, the power which she has got established in the soul and all that thing, as if it has got nullified. It has become non-functional, because that is of no use when you are now going to deal with the inconscient nature of yours. Born of inconscience, the material, the physical, the vital, the mental, You have to deal with them. It led behind her, inner world laid waste. A barren silence weighed upon her heart. Her kingdom of delight was there no more. Kingdom of delight was in the soul, not in the physical. Not in the physical. But even that now becomes helpless. Only her soul remained, obviously, you see. Its empty stage awaiting the unknown eternal will. Now, this is the beauty of it. Awaiting the unknown eternal will. See, both the things are happening of their own. The voice of the dread is challenging Savitri. The eternal's will is going to respond to that. It looks as though Savitri is not really doing anything. She has lent herself to all those forces. Yes, whatever has got to be done, you do it. Savitri is not really doing yoga. Somebody else as if he is doing yoga for her, prompting, look, this now. She didn't wait for dread to come. Nothing happened. Same way, this eternal will, she is awaiting. It is the eternal will which will do whatever has got to be done. Then from the heights, a greater voice came down. In other words, we can say that Savitri is only a field, a ground, a battleground for the dread and for this eternal will to fight themselves out. They are there as if to fight themselves out. Eternal will and the cosmic dread. And Savitri is just laying herself open to all those things. Then from the heights a greater voice came down. The word that touches the heart and finds the soul. The voice of light after the voice of night. The cry of the abyss drew heaven's reply. Again, see, the cry of the abyss, it is not Savitri's cry. Heaven's reply, it is not Savitri's reply. They are coming to Savitri both, from this side, from that side. A mighty storm, same thing. Chased with the might of the sun. So Savitri is only a point, a focus, a field, ground, where all these things will fight out the issue. Oh soul, but Savitri's soul is the one which has to settle the battle. See, as if this cry of the abyss and heaven's reply, they need a focal point to meet. And that focal point is the soul of Savitri. Where they are meeting and the battle is going to be fought. Soul of Savitri. O soul, bear not the kingdom to the foe. Consent to hide the royalty of bliss, lest time and fate find out its avenues and beat with thunderous knock upon thy gates. So actually what it means is basically for both the forces, the adversary and the divine force, they are cosmic in a way here, cosmic dimension. They need for action an individual, and that individual here is Savitri. It is not that heaven is going to fight against hell. Where? How? In what manner? Night and day, they are going to fight out. Where? How? You need a focal point, an individual. And that individual here is Savitri. So the battle is to be here, you see. In fact, in all the battles like that, see, in the Kurukshetra battle, Mahabharata battle, we have got Krishna on one side, Pandavas on one side, and Kauravas on the side. Actually, they are instruments for the action of the cosmic evil and good to come out and fight. And beat with thunderous knock upon thy gate. Hide while thou canst the treasure of separate self, your distinctness, your unity, your uniqueness, what is there, that you hold back behind the luminous rampart of thy depths, till of a vaster empire it grows part. Savitri has discovered her soul. The divine Shakti has housed herself in that soul, but she is still an infant, a baby, a child. It has to be protected. It has to be protected. And therefore hide that thing till of a vaster empire it grows apart. But not for self alone, the self is one. Content abide not with one conquered realm. Adventure all to make the whole world thine, to break into greater kingdom, turn thy foes. That is the injunction Savitri is as an individual. Now this is an injunction for Savitri as an individual. Because it is when she has done that thing, then only the cosmic forces can work and do their work in her. You see. Adventure all to make the whole world thine. Whole world, universalize yourself. Not for self alone. It is not for yourself alone. Content abide with one conquered realm. Yes, your inner being is now ready. You have housed this divine Shakti in it. That is one conquered realm. That's not going to do. What about the outer? Adventure all to make the whole world thine, to break into a greater kingdom, turn thy foes. Fear not to be nothing, that thou mayst be all. Now this is the most crucial injunction. Most crucial injunction. Now, if this battle of the abyss and of the height has to be fought in the direction of the victory of the height, the condition for Savitri is that she should become nothing. She should become nothing. Fear not to be nothing. It is through nothing that you will be all. Now that is of course paradoxical to the mind. It looks ridiculous, you see. But it is true also. It is true even in the human sense. You surrender yourself totally to be all. It is when you have totally surrender, you get everything. So, in a certain sense, it is a kind of a greater selfishness. Surrender is a kind of a greater selfishness, you see. You surrender for a gain, you see.
Who's telling her that? Who is the voice? The greater voice?
Pardon?
The greater voice. Who is that greater? Is it her own?
From the height. No, from the height, from the Supreme.
It's not her own.
No,
higher
no.
self.
The divine Savitri.
So it is her higher self.
Yeah, yeah. It is divine Savitri's voice. Greater voice, yeah. It is she who is telling to human Savitri, the individual. You see. The transcendental Savitri is telling to individual Savitri. In fact, she is guiding the whole process. And she is watching. Savitri has discovered the soul. She has housed herself in the soul, the divine Savitri. She knows now that the response from below will be coming to Savitri as a challenge. She knows it already. It has to happen. It has always happened like that. Whenever there is a descent from above, there is a negative response from below. It has always happened, you see. So therefore she is kind of aware of it. She is watching Savitri, every part of it. So in that sense I was telling you that it is not really Savitri who is doing the yoga. It is the divine Savitri who is doing her yoga in the individual Savitri. You see? Yeah. But then she has a capacity to open herself to it fully, to her fully. See, I mean, she is watching all that thing. You want me to do that thing? All right, let me do that. See, that kind of a situation is there in Savitri, you see. She is not questioning anything at all. She has absolute faith, implicit faith, conviction, full confidence that whatever is being told to her is for her good. Ascend to the emptiness of the Supreme, that all in thee may reach its absolute. So by being nothing, whatever is there will become the absolute, the truth. Your limbs, your nose, your eyes will become absolute, you see. Accept to be small and human on earth, interrupting the newborn divinity. So she is, as I tell you, she is a baby, infant, Savitri. The soul has just now received the divine power in it. And therefore, she has to guard that thing, that man may find his utter self in God. Again, this man is there. If for thy own sake only thou hast come, an immortal spirit in the immortal world, this is what we were talking last time. Savitri is already an immortal person. She has taken the immortal birth for a purpose, you see. It is not for yourself you have come. You are already immortal. What do you want? What else you want? Nothing. Immortal spirit into the immortal world to found thy luminous kingdom in God's dark. That's the whole idea of Savitri's mission. And in this sentence is contained the entire purpose of Savitri's mission of birth. Why she has taken the mortal birth? To establish luminous kingdom in the night. To found thy luminous kingdom in God's dark, in the unconscious realm, one shining star. One shining star. That is what Savitri is going to be in the darkness, you see. You have come for that. You have not come for yourself. You have come to found luminous kingdom in God's darkness. In the unconscious realm, one shining star. Well, actually, this one is important. In the sense that it is the only one. Yes. One shining star. She alone can do that. None else. None else. That is the mission of Savitri. Specific mission assigned to Savitri. It is not that I and you become like that. Maybe later on. But first, she alone. Yeah. In the unconscious realm, one shining star. One door in the ignorance opened upon light. Why hast thou any need to come at all? You don't need, because you are already immortal, you don't need it all. So it is not for yourself you are doing. My dear Savitri, you are doing it for the sake of this creation, for this inconscient creature, born in ignorance. It is for him you are doing all that thing, you see. Thou hast come down into a struggling world to aid a blind and suffering mortal race. So this is what I was telling you last time. This is the full commentary on what we are. Full commentary on what we are. Blind, suffering, mortal race. We don't open our eyes, we don't open to truer joys of existence. Mortal race. To open to light the eyes that could not see. He's talking about blind, therefore eyes that could not see. To bring down bliss in the heart of grief, because she's talking of suffering. So clarification. What is a blind eye? Light is not seen by the eyes. To open to light the eyes that could not see. To bring down bliss into the heart of grief. So these two, blindness and suffering, are amplified in these two lines. Well, actually, to open to light, L is with capital L, light. I would have made bliss also be capital, to bring down bliss. For a kind of a parity, you see. Well, if at all, you see. This L and this B, you have to have that parity, you see. To make thy life a bridge twixt earth and heaven. If thou save the toiling universe, the vast universal suffering feel as thine. That is what we have to. We have to accept human suffering, feel it. This is what we saw last time in Mother's. Does the Divine Mother suffer when she takes human birth here? Yes, she does. Thou must bear the sorrow that thou camest to heal. The daybringer must walk in darkest night. He who would save the world must share its pain. This is exactly what we saw last time, Mother's, saying that. And both these lines are monosyllabic lines to bring out that full emphasis. He who would save the world must share its pain. If he knows not grief, how shall he find grief's cure? If he knows not grief, does it mean that Christ must be nailed on the cross to find relief for grief? Hammering is there, you see. 4 nails, you see. Should he be nailed, you see? Perhaps not that. It is not the physical grief. It is the grief of the deeper soul. In identification with the grief of this world, it is that which is important. Who has suffered, endured all for us. That's what Mother has said about Sri Aurobindo passing away. Who endured, suffered all for us. A work Sri Aurobindo writes to his brother, a work, painful work. He speaks of painful work. So when you are talking of he would save the world, it is not the physical alone or the Christ type, which is of course there physically also, but it is a much, much deeper wound within. It is that which has to suffer. If he knows not grief, how shall he find grief's cure? If far he walks above mortality's head, how shall the mortal reach that too high path? Well, this voice is arguing to Savitri like a schoolboy. Savitri is a school girl. She is trying to explain to her like that, you see, but it's a fact. If one of theirs they see scale heaven's peaks, men then can hope to learn that Titan climb. Yet I am not too sure whether they will learn. Will they? If one of theirs sees scale heaven's peaks, men then can, that is why I say can hope. Not sure that he will. God must be born on earth and be as man. Again, you see how emphatic this line is, monosyllabic. God must be born on earth and be as man. So when Shivandu was asked by Narudbaran that the suffering of the avatar is a sham, is a pretext, is artificial. After all, he is divine, how can he suffer? How can he suffer? Shivandu replied to him, he suffers much more deeply than that, you see. It's not sham. He's not just putting on the garb of people suffering. He is suffering. That man, being human, may grow even as God. So, in other words, for the human to grow as God, the condition is that God must be born as man. That's the condition. Otherwise, human cannot grow. He must be born. In fact, in other places, it is a mutual debt. God owes a debt to man, man owes a debt to God. It is that fulfillment, mutual debt. He who saved the world must be one with the world. See again, all these lines are monosyllabic lines purposefully. He who saved the world, he who saved the world must be one with the world. He who would save, second foot, the world, third foot, must be one, anapes, with the world, again anapes, two anapes. All suffering things contained in his heart space and bear the grief and joy of all that lives. His soul must be wider than the universe and feel eternity as its very stuff. So, what the voice is telling, what the voice is basically giving a prescription of how the avatar should be. Avatar should have these qualities, these attributes. He must have these attributes. Then only he is an avatar. His soul must be wider than the universe and feel eternity as its very stuff, rejecting the moment's personality, know itself older than the birth of time. This is the most occult line. Very occult line, very deep line. See, suddenly a statement is made which belongs to a different category of knowledge altogether. See, rejecting the moment's personality and feel eternity, they are kind of understandable. But know itself older than the birth of time. Even before time was born, he knows all that. He is beyond time. He steps into time. That is the birth and time. and feel his soul must be wider than the universe, know itself, that soul must know itself older than the birth of time. In our case, our soul does not know that it is older than the birth of time. We are born in time, in the process of time. But we don't know that actually the soul has its birth much before this happened. Know itself older. The reference is basically to our Jivatman, the central being of us, who is always there in the transcendent, beyond time. It is from the transcendent, the central being has decided to plunge into this creation, into time. So the central being knows already beyond time, but when it is born here, it has no, I am not here, I have come from there. I come from there. Actually, we have seen that thing many times, but let us see again. This was an answer to Savitri's mother. Narada is telling why this has happened to human, to the soul. Why this suffering? Who has imposed this law? And Narada says, look, madam, this is your own choice. You have opted for this. I can't help it. You are consented to come here like this, so you have to accept it. 111.1. O mortal who complains of death and fate, accuse none of the harm thyself has caused. You have caused all these difficulties. It is your option. Why you are accusing somebody else? God? No. You have selected this one. This troubled world thou hast chosen for thy home. Thou art thyself the author of thy pain. You have created your own pain. And then he narrates, Narada, once in the immortal boundlessness of the self, immortal boundlessness of the self, in the transcendent, in a vast of truth and consciousness and light in Satchidananda, in the vast of truth and consciousness and light, the soul looked out from its felicity. It was in Satchidananda, happy, merry, etc. And it looked out. Let us see what is there around. Otherwise it was happy there. It felt the Spirit's interminable bliss. It knew itself deathless, timeless, spaceless one. It saw the eternal, lived in the infinite. So it was happy there in the transcendent all along. Then, curious of a shadow thrown by truth, suddenly some kind of an inquisitiveness appeared in his soul. You see, why the shadow here down below? What is it for there? Let me see, there is something interesting in it, in the shadow, you see. Then, curious of a shadow thrown by truth, it strained towards some otherness of self. It was drawn to an unknown face, peering through night. It sensed a negative infinity. You got it? It sensed a negative infinity, a voice supernal, whose immense excess, imitating God and everlasting time, offered a ground for nature's adverse birth, and matter's rigid and unconscious one, harboring the brilliance of a transient soul, that lies of birth and death and ignorant life. So that is how we plunge here. So that is the birth and time of the soul. So much before that, know itself older than the birth. Before you jump here into this curious shadow, you were like that. You thought the shadow is curious, so you have jumped here. You have come into time, and that is the birth in time, you see. Feel eternity as its very stone, rejecting the moment's personality. Know itself older than the birth of time. It is a reference to that. that our Jivatman is already there, immortal, always there, beyond time. It has jumped into time, that is the birth. Creation, an incident in its consciousness, Arcturus and Belphegor, grains of fire. Arcturus and Belphegor, grains of fire. So, in that creation, this huge, mighty star, brilliant star, Arcturus is, I think, 30 light years away from the sun, is much brighter than the sun. And this star was known even to the ancient. You could see that thing, see the star. Belphegor is a character of a vast titanic nature. Arcturus and Belphegor, what are they after all? These huge, big stars or these giant creatures and all that. They are just small grains of fire, circling in a corner of his boundless self. So in the transcendental creation, there are small little points, you see, in the immensity of this creation. Circling in a corner of his boundless self, the world's destruction, a small transient storm, let it be destroyed, who cares? It will come and go away. The creation is not going to go away. These ups and downs are there, but they are small incidents in the course of his existence. The world's destruction, a small transient storm. Yes, it is true also when you think of it. The Second World War, well, today it looks a very small thing now, you see. Nothing happened as if, you see. Nothing happened. It gained beautiful. In fact, Second World War has done something positive. It has destroyed the past. It has destroyed the past. All that was dark, that had to be destroyed. It is that. And out of that fire, burning fire, as if the whole thing is put to flames, and out of that flame rose a new creation. A phoenix has risen from its own dead body. So the new creation really has started after the Second World War. In a certain sense, it was necessary that to have happened. Then only the past could be burnt and destroyed and removed to clear the way. You can imagine the kind of advances which have been made after 1945. The whole world is tremendously different. You are going to moon, you are going to Mars, you are going here, you are going there, everywhere. In no time you cross one place to the other place like that. You see, talk internet, everything is right in your hand. See, a new creation has come out of its own fire. The phoenix has risen, has taken a new birth. The world is, therefore, this is, in a certain sense, a good thing. This destruction is small, transient storm. At that time, it looks terrible, calamitous, horrible, all this kind of thing. But nothing. The calm infinity it has become. If thou wouldst a little loosen the vast chain, draw back from the world that the idea has made. The world has been made by the idea. What you are saying is your kind of an idea which has given rise to this world. You have to draw back from that. I should be like this, you should be like that. This is what you imagine, you think, you make an idea of it. And it is from that you have to draw back, you see. Now what he says, what the voice says, the world is made from the idea, and therefore, Savitri, you would have withdraw from that, draw back from that. It belongs to a kind of a formation of a type of a mind. It is not the real idea, it is only the idea. It is mental, it is something of this creation, phenomenal. It is from that, it is not a real idea. So because this is an idea, therefore you have to withdraw from that. It should be like this, like that, etc. You imagine. You see. Draw back from the world that the idea has made, and he is again emphasizing mind, connection with that. Thy mind selection from the infinite. So there are infinite ideas possible. You have selected this or that. You better withdraw from that. Mind selection from the infinite. Thy senses gloss on the infinitesimals down. Then shalt thou know the great bond, how the great bondage came. When you have withdrawn from the idea, then you know how the bondage has come. The bondage has come because of mind and senses. Bondage has come because of that. So then you will know what it is actually. Banish all thought from thee and be God's void. Banish all thought from thee. This is a very powerful line. Banish all thought, metrically also. Metrically also very beautiful line. Banish, that is talking, all thought, it is Pandi, from thee, a kind of an am, and be, again, very God's void, Pandi, strong. Be God's void. How many of us are ready? We don't want to give up ourselves, you see, to be void. Even if it is God's void, who cares? I want to be myself. Be God's void. Then shalt thou uncover the unknowable. Uncover the unknowable. In other words, the unknowable is at the moment covered by idea. The unknowable is covered by the idea. So remove that thing and you have then really uncovered the unknowable. And superconscious conscious growth on thy tops. Infinity's vision through thy gaze shall appear. Infinity's vision through thy gaze. So through her gaze it is the vision of infinity which will come through. Shall appear. Thou shalt look into the eyes of the unknown. So the unknown has the eyes, and Savitri will be looking into the eyes of the unknown to that. Thou shalt look into the eyes of the unknown, find the hid truth in things seen, null and false. Behind things know, discover mysteries rare. Behind things known. So what you think these objects as if you know, but behind them there is a real mystery. It is that which will be uncovered. Thou shalt be one with God's bare reality. God's bare reality. Thou shalt be one with God's bare reality. Nothing else. God alone. No creation, nothing, not even self, not soul, nothing. Not even Satchidananda perhaps. Nothing. Thou shalt be one with God's bare reality. He talks, the voice is talking here rather, bare reality. In the case of Ashwapati, it was intolerant reality. Intolerant reality. When he was approaching the unknowable, it was the intolerant reality. Here it is the bare reality. So, in a certain sense, Ashwapati also has gone through this kind of a nirvanic experience through the spiritual path. Savitri is going through that through the tantric path. And the miraculous world he has become, and the diviner miracle still to be. Divine miracle still to be. So the entire purpose is this one. Savitri, all that you are doing is for this purpose. Diviner miracle still to be. When nature who is now unconscious God, translucent grows to the eternal light. Her seeing his sight, her seeing, nature seeing is the sight of his, of God. Her walk, nature's walk, is the walk of that God. His steps of power. So nature herself will become now godly in a sense. Her seeing his sight, that he stands for God. Her walk, his steps of power, and life is filled with spiritual joy, and matter the spirit's willing bride. Well, the dichotomous nature of spirit and matter, it is that which will get resolved. What is matter? Never mind. What is mind? Doesn't matter. That is what the Cartesian logic is, you see. Cartesian logic is that, you see. So this is what he. So these are the echoes here in these lines. See, Shevendra is really bringing out all those echoes of spirit, of philosophy also, and matter is the spirit's willing bride. Today, matter is ruled by spirit under compulsion. Under compulsion, it is coaxing, it is forcing things on it. Yes, life must enter into matter and bring out forms of life. Yes, mind must enter into life and matter here and bring out other dimensions. So matter is kind of forced to bring out those aspects. Therefore, she is not a willing bride at the moment. You see. But when this happens, when this miracle takes place, then the spirit itself recognizes its possibilities in the powers of the spirit. The spirit recognizes its potentials expressing themselves in matter. Both. That is the mutuality then between the spirit. The spirit opens out its possibilities and pours them into matter. Matter receives all those possibilities and expresses them. So that is the kind of willingness between spirit and matter. Matter, the spirit's willing by. See, what has happened is at the moment matter is coaxed to do this thing. Matter must express life. Matter must express mind, like that. As a result of that, the moment that coaxing is there, matter has to express life. When life has entered into matter, suddenly what happened then? A negative response came from below. Appeared death. When life enters into matter, in response to that appears death. Because matter is not willing. But when matter is willing to the spirit's power to enter in, then that will not happen. Death will not appear like that, you see. It is that willingness which is really expressed very powerfully, you see. It is because things are being forced on matter, the negative response from matter throws antagonistic forces. Death, falsehood, suffering, they start coming up from below. They will not happen when matter becomes willing. And this will happen only when the divine and miracle still to be born. Consent to be nothing and none. So now this is the imperative. Savitri is told, agree now to be nothing. Did Savitri refuse any time what the voice was telling to her? But the voice is not waiting for Savitri to respond positive or negative. She is forcing on Savitri. Accept what I am telling you. Consent to be nothing. That is required. None, sorry, nothing and none. Dissolve time's work. Cast off thy mind, step back from form and name. All these formations which are there, form, name, nama and rupa. In Sanskrit, it means form is rupa, name is nama. All nomenclatures, all this figuration, personalities, you throw away, they are formations, basically, mental formation. We draw from form, we draw from name. Don't have any quality, don't have any configuration, control for that. Cast off thy mind, step back from form and name, annul thyself that only God may be. That is Savitri's Nirvana. That is Savitri's Nirvana. Annul thyself that only God may be. So Savitri is asked to enter into this Nirvana. Only when that is done, then the battle between the dread and the voice coming from above will be settled. Now let us read Nirvana. Nirvana, that is a Sanskrit word. It is most commonly associated with Buddhism, etc. Blown out, throw away, all that thing you see. But that's the traditional meaning. But you can see now the dimension of Nirvana as we are in Savitri, see, just now. Etymologically, Nirvana is composed of three forms, ni-va-na. Ni, out, away from, without a term that is va, blowing out, vana, go away, vana. Origin, Nirvana is a term used in Hinduism, Jainism, etc. It refers to the profound peace of mind that is acquired with moksha. This is absurd, absolutely, but that is what the common mind understands, the dictionary explains. It is not moksha. Nirvana is not moksha in that sense, you see. Moksha is getting out from this creation. The idea of moksha is connected with the Vedic culture. These are the general comments. According to Aurobindo, the last bondage is the passion for liberation itself. This is absolutely absurd. You see, this is what the encyclopedia tells, the internet encyclopedia, Wikipedia, yeah, which must be renounced before the soul can be perfectly free. And the last knowledge is the realization that there is none bound, none desirous of freedom but the soul. Now, in the Indian tradition, Nirvana appears in the spiritual descriptions for the first time only in the Gita. It does not appear in the Upanishad, it does not appear in the Vedas, it does not appear in any earlier literature at all. It is for the first time Nirvana appears in the Gita. But the sense of Nirvana in the Gita is again of a different kind. What the Gita calls Brahma Nirvana, Brahmastiti, Brahma Nirvana, identifying yourself completely with Brahman. We'll see that. Now, these are the verses in which the description, chapter 2, verse 72, chapter 5, verse 24, chapter 6, verse 15 of the Gita, where the word Nirvana appears. Nirvana here, Brahma Nirvana here, Brahma Nirvana here. He calls Brahma Nirvana. So, We can say that in the Indian tradition, the first appearance of the word nirvana is in the Gita, that is about 3000 BC. The time when the Gita was written, Mahabharata time, is 3000 BC. Actually, it is 3110 BC, around 21st February, the battle was fought. Mahabharata war. That is according to the astronomical calculations. The events which are described in the Gita, the eclipse and all that. So if you work back the eclipse, then it pins down to 3100 BC. 3100 BC means about 5000 years ago. On the basis of the eclipse, the whole thing has been worked out as calendar. Yeah. Because the eclipses are described in the, yeah, see. So that is taken as the reference point, you see. Now, you see, this is again a negative thing. Shankara, his famous verses, he talks of everything of an illusion, and he says, I am not mind, not intellect, not ego, etc., etc. I am Chitta. But I am indeed that eternal knowing and bliss, the auspicious Shivam. Shivam, this is what he says. The eternal knowing and bliss. The Gita's verse. That is the way of the spiritual and bodily and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. Obviously, that is understandable. Being so situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Well, that is the Brahma Nirvana of the Gita. You have already identified yourself with Brahman, and therefore there is no fear of death for you. Now, but let us read Sri Aurobindo in the context of the Gita, that sloka. The status he reaches is a Brahmic condition, Brahmistiti, Nirvana, Brahma Nirvana, Sri Aurobindo is explaining. He gets to firm standing in the Brahman, that is what is called Brahmistiti. It is a reversal of the whole view, experience, knowledge, values, seeing of earthbound creatures. This life of the dualities, which is to them their day, their walking, their waking, their consciousness, their bright condition of activity and knowledge, is to him a night. Yeah, all this is what we are doing is night. A troubled sleep and darkness of the soul. Troubled sleep and darkness of the soul. We are living in that, in troubled sleep of the soul. That higher being which is to them a night, a sleep in which all knowledge and will cease, is to the self-mastering sage his waking. What the Upanishad call, this is Jagrata, this is Swapna. She is mastering sage, his luminous day true being, knowledge and power. They are troubled and muddy waters disturbed by every little inrush of desire. He is an ocean of wide being and consciousness which is ever being filled, yet ever motionless in its large poised soul. Let's move on further. Then Sri Aurobindo says, he attains to the great peace and is not bewildered by the shows of things. In the Brahmistiti, he has extinguished his individual ego in the One, lives in that unity and fixed in that status at his end can attain to extinction in the Brahman, extension in the Brahman, that is nirvana. He has blown out himself into Brahman. Not the negative self-annihilation of the Buddhist, but the great emergence of the separate personal self into the vast reality of the one infinite impersonal existence. So, essentially what we have here is the individual ego, etc., is blown out and you attain the Brahmic condition. That is nirvana of the Gita, which is definitely of a different kind than the traditional descriptions of nirvana we have afterwards, which I came to see. But even this nirvana of the Gita is not sufficient for Savitri Yoga. What we are saying. Anal thyself, that only God be. It is going beyond the Brahmisthiti of the Gita. Savitri Yoga has gone beyond the sthiti of the Gita's yoga in that sense. Which is very important in the sense that when Sri Aurobindo speaks of Krishna and Buddha as avatars, he of course describes Krishna, Buddha and Christ as avatars. Talks of them, Krishna, Buddha and Christ as avatars. But he says that from a psychological point of view, although historically Buddha came after Krishna, 500 BC, Krishna 3000 BC, 2500 years ago, earlier. Although Krishna came much earlier than Buddha, Krishna's work is actually the work which begins after Buddha's work. Historically, he has preceded, but his work begins after Buddha's work of nirvana. Historically, there are differences. But psychologically, Buddha's work precedes Krishna's work, which is very necessary. Unless you have emptied out yourself, you cannot bring down higher powers. Krishna consciousness stands for the overmind in the physical. But that can really begin when you have started emptying out yourself. When the nirvana is attained, then only it can begin, you see. So from that point of view, psychologically, Buddha's work is preceding Krishna's work. Although historically they are different. How it has happened? Well, it has happened. Now, about the nirvana we have in Savitri, annul thyself. What does that annul thyself mean? Some of these statements from Sri Aurobindo, they are very significant, very important. We give the name of non-being to a contrary affirmation of its freedom from all cosmic existence. Freedom, that is to say, from all positive terms of actual existence which consciousness in the universe can formulate to itself. We say beyond existence, that is non-being, we give to that name. It does not deny them as a real expression of itself, but it denies its limitation by odd expression or any expression whatsoever. Now, what it means is that you have name and form. You deny that thing because behind that name and form there is a nameless, there is a formless, there is impersonal behind that. That is the denial, you see, behind that. But when you are talking of impersonal, it does not mean that name and form have no meaning, no sense, no content. See? You have to go behind that thing. In fact, the most beautiful thing is that we normally associate beauty only with a form. When you see something as a form, then only we say it's beautiful, ugly, or whatever it is, that. Without that thing, we cannot speak of beauty at all without form. But to see beauty in the formless is a greater perception. Behind the form, there is the formless, and there is the beauty in that formless. In the impersonal, there is something very definite in that. That is a greater realization. The beauty of the formless, if you have to realize, then only you have really crossed beyond all these limitations. You have gone into the non-being. See, it's very clear. If you go to the cave where you got huge, gigantic statue of Buddha, rock-hewn statue in Ajanta or Ellora, huge statue of Buddha in a big hall like that, all everything carved in the stone directly. It's absolutely calm. And what you see on the face of Buddha, it is all full of form, structure is there, but behind that you see only impersonal Buddha. There is a peace in that, it is impersonal. But behind that peace, there is a kind of a beauty, there is a kind of a sweetness in that impersonal. You feel that thing, it's something different altogether, you see. The form is there, behind that form is the formless, and that formless has its own beauty and joy and happiness and all that kind of a thing. It is that realization which has to come in the non-being. Therefore, it says its limitation to all expression or any expression whatsoever. The non-being permits the being. The non-being permits the being. Even as the silence permits the activity. Without silence, there cannot be activity. The adhar or the support for action is passivity. Absolute peace, absolute calm, that is the passivity. When you hang out that shanti, peace, absolute peace, then only action becomes possible. By the simultaneous negation and affirmation, not mutually destructive. These two opposites, they don't come and destroy each other, but by their presence, but complementary to each other, like all contraries, the simultaneous awareness of conscious self-being as a reality and the unknowable beyond as the same reality becomes realizable to the awakened human soul. Savitri has to move towards that. It is possible to pass into silence beyond the silence. But this is not the whole of our ultimate experience. Yes, you can go and remain silent beyond silence. But of what use then is creation? Is that the whole purpose to go into that? But this is not the whole of our ultimate experience, nor the single and all excluding truth. For we find that this nirvana of going beyond silence into silence, this nirvana, this extension, while it gives an absolute peace and freedom to the soul within, is yet consistent in practice with a desireless but effective action without. That is Shivandu. Yes, that is foundation, that silence. For what? For action. Action without. So you have to, in order to really bring out true action, you have to establish yourself into silence. That is nirvana. You have to establish yourself. The possibility of the entire motionless impersonality and void calm within, doing outwardly the works of the eternal verities, love, truth and rightness, was perhaps the real gist of the Buddha's teaching. That is the true sense of Buddha. It is in that sense the necessity of Buddha's avatarhood becomes pertinent in the scheme of evolutionary growth, evolutionary manifestation. Why Buddha is necessary? It is for this purpose. eternal verities. He is superiority to ego, etc. We have seen that the non-being beyond may well be an inconceivable existence and perhaps an ineffable bliss. The non-being, beyond being, without form, all that beyond. At least the nirvana of Buddhism, which formulated one most luminous effort of man to reach and to rest, is the highest non-existence. So she has to reach this non-existence. Therefore, there is no soul, there is no self, nothing is true here in that sense. Represents itself in the psychology of the liberated yet. In fact, this is important. It is a Satchidananda to which we dare no longer apply even the supreme terms of Sat, of Chit, of Ananda. It is beyond Satchidananda. That is the formless reality. That is the absolute. The non-being is that. In fact, the first manifestation of the absolute is Satchidananda. And from Satchidananda then comes out the cosmic manifestation and the individual. The transcendent, the cosmic, the individual. So, what is the transcendent? It is the projection of the absolute non-manifest into existence. That is the first manifestation. The unknowable if it is at all, so it means that, what does that mean? If it is at all? It means it is not really unknowable. It doesn't mean that. Or does it mean that it does not really exist? Or if it does not really exist.
You said Satchitananda, it's the first
Manifestation
of manifestation.
of the absolute non-manifest.
Okay. First step of manifestation. It means Satchitananda, it's not above.
No, Ananda is below that.
Okay. So, if you say now the unknowable may be a state of Satchitananda.
No, it is beyond Satchitananda. Unknowable is beyond Satchitananda.
Could it be a state?
That is why it says it is, if it is there. That is why.
Please let me, because I didn't understand. If it's beyond, could it be a state of Satchitananda? Because it's beyond the manifestation.
Yes, because it is total non-manifest. Non-manifest. Then what can you speak about it?
Yeah, so it's not a state of Satchitananda.
What can we speak about it, you see? Because it is not, there is nothing to speak about it then at all. Therefore it is ineffable. Therefore it is unknowable.
But why did I talk about it as it may be a supreme state of Satchitananda?
Yes.
No, it is beyond Satchitananda.
Beyond.
The absolute is beyond Satchitananda.
But who said all this text? It's
Shivato. Yeah, all these things are from you. So,
So he doesn't know how he knows.
yeah, well, if at all, if it is at all, means he says, this phrase, if it is at all, means possibly he is knowable. Possibly he is knowable. This is what it means. It could also mean that if at all it exists.
So he didn't go there.
No, it doesn't say about that. Maybe a supreme state of Satchitananda beyond our highest conceptions of existence, consciousness and bliss. That is the unknowable. That is what was evidently meant by the Asat, the non-being, the non-existence, Asat, of Taittiriya Upanishad, which alone was in the beginning and out of which the existent was born. Which alone was in the beginning, means the non-manifest was alone there, out of it came what first? Satchidananda. The first child of the unknowable is Satchidananda.
Divine Mother. The Divine Mother. Where is she?
Yeah, now, yeah, this doesn't talk of that. Divine Mother, see, in fact, that is what we have got. Now that he has said that, the absolute, the perfect, the alone pulled out his force from that, and it is she came. That is the Divine Mother. How did the non-manifest, the absolute, become Sachidananda? By his force, by his power. That is the Divine Mother you call.
It's not,
Parashakti.
Yes.
she is the action.
Beyond that.
She is the action.
She has come out.
Here or here.
So
She
she,
is the action.
So
she has projected first, and her first child is Sachidananda.
Yes, she's the interface between
Yes.
unknowable and Sachidananda.
Yes. Yes.
So she's above Sachidananda.
Yes, of course. She is the force of the absolute non-manifest. It is out of his silence she came out and became manifest.
She is not in a state. She is the force to do this.
The state is Shakti,
She
Shakti.
is the force to do
You
the
just say, I know it created only her. That's it.
Yeah.
And he stopped.
The absolute, the perfect, the alone has called out of the silence his mute force. This is the first creator, first creatrix, first creatrix.
His mute force. His mute force.
The absolute, the perfect, the alone, that is the beyond Sachidananda. This absolute is beyond Sachidananda. This absolute is beyond Sachidananda. So that absolute, that non-existent, that non-manifest has called out of his silence his mute force, who was not. Huh?
It means the mother. No, that's his mute force.
Force, his own force, his own Shakti.
Yeah, it means the mother.
You want to call it whatever you want to call it, yeah. she at the moment she is not mother. When she gives rise to a birth to a child, that is Sachidananda.
Okay, then she will become, let's call
What
it
is the
creative force.
Sanskrit word is Parashakti, Aditi.
Yeah, it is the words. Yeah. Basically, this is the best description we have got.
This mute force is the Mahashakti.
Yeah. The absolute, the perfect, the alone has called out of the silence his beautiful, where she lay in the featureless and formless hush, guarding from time by her immobile sleep the ineffable presence of the solitude. She was lying there. Then the absolute, the perfect alone has entered into silence. Now, that is the next step. First, he has pulled out his force. Now, the process of manifestation begins. Has entered into silence. He has fashioned these countless persons of one self. He lives in all who lived in his vast alone. Space is himself and time is only he. Then, because he has now creation, things that are around, still he is immune. He is not affected by these people. He is immune. The absolute, the perfect, the immune. He becomes immune in spite of the creation and people around. One who is in us as our secret self, our mask of imperfection has assumed. So you see the third step. First is from the absolute, then Siddhanta, then the cosmic. You see. And yet he is immune. He has made a tenement of flesh and all that, etc. This transfiguration is us due to heaven. Well, then in a figure of divinity, the Maker shall recast us and impose a plan of Godhead on the mortal's mode. What is that going to happen? It means tracing now what is going to happen from below. See. Lifting our finite minds to his infinite, touching the moment with eternity. This transfiguration is us due to heaven. A mutual debt, this is what we are talking about, mutual debt binds man to the Supreme. His nature put on as he put ours. We are sons of God and must be even as He. His human portion, we must grow divine. Our life is a paradox with God for key. That's the whole thing. With God is the key for our life's paradox. But basically, the creation is here. The first step is the absolute, the perfect, the alone. He wanted to be somebody. Actually, the Upanishad says alone. Because there is nobody else there at all. No company is there. And the Upanishad says, I want to be many. I want Bahusyam Prajayeti. Let there be creation. Praja. Let there be creation. Praja. I am alone. I feel bored. I want some companions. So how does he do that? He first creates Satchidananda, then creates etc. to be many. Prajai, Bahu, I want to be many, you see. So the alone wants to be many.
Why he wanted to be many?
Because he was feeling alone.
Experiences are, come on, experiences are.
Because he was feeling lonely, you see. He wants some companions, you see.
Yes. After that, he called out the science force. Then she creates
Yes.
all the other universes.
Yeah, those details are not given, but they have to be understood.
What?
See, the force has come out. It is Shakti,
Yes.
Prakriti, or whatever you want to call it, Aditi, whatever name you give, it's immaterial. It is she now who is the creatrix, who is going to give rise to this creation.
There will be many
Yes,
universes, no?
yeah. That is how the individuals have come out.
So, but then Satchidananda is before the
Satchidananda is only one aspect of it. First manifestation of hers is Satchidananda.
and then other smaller
Yeah.
other
Now,
universes.
how does Satchidananda know that I am Satchidananda? How do I know that I am Deshpande or you are you? How do I know that? I know I know by the faculty of my mind. My understanding of myself is by mind. How does Satchidananda know that he is Satchidananda? It is by his mind. That is supermind. That is supermind. Satchidananda knows himself as Satchidananda because of supermind. As supermind. And
We know that
by
we
mind.
no, it's not the mind. We know. It's not the mind who said that I am living. I am living because I know. I don't know what is it. Who knows? Who knows? But I don't feel that it's my mind who knows.
Yeah, but then it means that there is somebody working behind mind.
It's yes, something in some
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but generally, what do we know? I know myself only by my. Even that somebody at the moment, what are the faculties at his disposal to know me? At the moment, there is something in me, all right. But how does he know? By what faculties he will know me? At the moment, only by mind.
I know
Best instrument is mind.
I know the other by my mind,
Mind, yeah.
but not myself by my mind.
Of course, you know only by mind at the moment.
No, it's not the mind. It's something. It is what we don't know.
It is something, somebody in you who is knowing yourself as through mind. Yeah. Because you don't have any other sense of perception. You don't have other faculty yet.
Consciousness.
Huh?
Consciousness.
You don't have, see, to some extent it's developed here, but that is not really all. I don't know myself why I am ignorant, why I am death bound, why I am ill, why I am suffering. I don't know.
But you know you are Deshpande.
Yeah.
Right now.
Only through mind.
We know we are
But Satchidananda knows himself as Satchidananda because of supermind, which is inherently there. That is supermind. Therefore, we have Sat is Ananda, and then comes Vijnana. And Vijnana is the creator now afterwards.
This one by creator will mean only creation on the earth or the whole universe, wherever there is creation in other planets.
Like what she asked.
No, this absolute is for the earth or
You see,
the whole creation.
he felt alone, therefore he created this whole creation, this universe and all that thing.
Oh, universe, whole universe.
He created, of course, universe also, cosmic manifestation is this. Cosmic manifestation does not mean only the astronomical physical universe, but all these 7 lokas above, 7 patalas below, everything, all these 14 lokas are his creation. And there are beings and beings and beings everywhere,
There are beings
everywhere.
in other planets, when there is at all exists life in the whole universe, there will be many solar systems and all that.
That is only material. But there are behind the entire universe beings and beings everywhere. Vital beings are there, mental beings are there, Gandharvas are there, Rakshasas are there, Pishachas are there, everybody is there all around. They are all beings, they are part of the creation.
Being, but not necessarily human being, but being.
Huh?
Not human, but being.
In fact, the whole description of those 14 cantos, book 2 is that. Whole description of 14 cantos. 14 cantos he had described. 14 cantos are very significant again. The traditional Puranic description is 7 heavens and 7 hells. 7 patal and 7 swarga. 14 exactly. 14 cantos. Downwards. Yeah, you see, not that she able to calculate it, but it happens.
Just like this, no? Automatically.
It happens.
Does
14.
it mean all the creations, I mean, so many eternity, it means so many, are they all based on Satchitananda and Swami?
Yes.
All.
Yes, of course.
There's none other
No.
universe which is
Now,
not based on
when
Satchitananda.
he is talking of alone, here, the mother says in one place, the universe as we are, so to say, aware of, mother speaking of, could be only one of that manifestation of this absolute.
That's my question.
Of that, but about that, about others, we don't know. We cannot
We
know.
don't know.
No, we cannot know.
it
Maybe there are many other parallel
Yes.
manifestations, but
That's
we,
right.
we have no contact at all with them.
But because the mother said at one point, I think you said that, don't you see that part which is here now only refers to this universe?
What we are concerned is with this manifestation alone. That's all. We are in a given closed sphere,
In a bubble.
in a bubble, in a black hole, or what? This is a total black hole. Our universe is a black hole, physically also.
Physically a black hole.
It is a physically black hole.
There you go.
Yes, even astronomers say that our universe is possibly only one of the physical universes. There could be other black holes and they cannot communicate with each other. It is a black because no light can escape from us outside. No light can come from outside. This is a black hole, this is another black hole. No light can come out from this black hole and enter here. So how do we know this one? So she says, and consciousness, I mean, that what we are saying, this manifestation, is possibly one of a type. The mother says in the agenda, this is possibly one of a manifestation. All that we are talking of is possibly one. The absolute is not necessarily limited to this particular population. You can't limit him also that.
But if it's a black hole, how can
We cannot know anything outside the black hole. Impossible. That is the very definition of a black hole. We are trapped in a complete black hole. And our black hole is one of the possibilities of manifestation of this absolute. There could be, I mean, we can imagine this all. It is futile to talk about that, you see. Yeah, but I think we are quite happy with this black hole. So, yeah, we were quite happy with this black hole. Something would happen because ultimately, he says, no, ultimately, in a figure of divinity, Maker shall recast us into his image. Ultimately, this is what is going to happen, you see. This transfiguration is us due to heaven. This is what is going to happen. Now, well, actually, even in this universe, there is something unique about Earth. Earth is the significant center for a particular evolutionary manifestation. The geocentricity is a spiritual geocentricity, not the astronomical geocentricity. It is spiritual geocentricity because it is only on earth that the psychic being is present. Nowhere else. So that's the beauty, that's the joy. So now, of course, Sri Aurobindo says in the Life Divine, if all these things can be worked out first on the earth, then perhaps you could attend to other aspects of this universe. But Sri Aurobindo says at that point, he stops. He says, but it is futile to talk about that thing at the moment. He says that also very clearly. In the Life Divine, he has said that to you. So that is the transfiguration, us due to heaven, earth, because the psychic being. Even the gods don't have the psychic being. Our life is a paradox with God for key. Our life is a paradox, but not our psychic being. So that is the kind of nirvana Savitri is entering into. She has been told to do that, to reach nirvana.